and welcome into the Roundtable Country Room. And this week, we have our newest member of the Roundtable, Mr. Man on the Couch, Mr. Mikey T himself, coming in to talk some sports with us. Good to have him today. So as we left off last week, we had discussed our picks in the recent playoffs and talking about a few other things. So we're just going to go ahead and get right into the show today if you guys are good with that. I don't have a whole lot of background to give. A lot of interesting things going on this week. Of course, a lot of things going on in the head coaching positions, OCs, DCs, all the different coaching positions. Of course, some teams that have exited the playoffs now, and the quarterbacks that maybe move in other places. Who knows? We'll see. We'll kind of discuss that a little bit today, and then we'll kind of get into some last week's games. We'll talk a little bit about those. We're not going to sit and camp on those forever because everybody watched the games. We all know what happened, but we'll talk briefly about those, and then we'll jump right into this week's upcoming divisional round. So should be an interesting show, and we'll get right into it. So I don't know if you want to go ahead, Country, and lead off with Vikings' recent move.
Yeah, breaking news just a few minutes ago. The Vikings fired their defensive coordinator, which you can't blame them. 31st in the league.
No.
Not really the greatest showing of the season. So I think the firing is well deserved, unfortunately. So that's all I got on that one, man. I'm 31st in the league. You don't really deserve to keep your job.
Yeah, so a few of those numbers just they rank number 28 in points allowed at 25.1 and number 31 in yards allowed at 38.7. Of course, they gave up how many ever unanswered points on? It looks like 31 points and 431 yards to the Giants in the first round. I honestly thought, and we'll talk about it more when we get back to it, but I thought that Minnesota would pull it out because it reminds me, like I said, a lot of like the Pac-12 football where it's run and gun up and down the field, and that's kind of what the Vikings reminded me of, but their defense just couldn't perform at all.
What do you think about the subject, Mr. Man on the Couch?
Yeah, they need to make some changes there on the Vikings defense. Big change.
Yeah,
they're good. They gotta make some changes to be a better team. To be able to make it past that first round in the playoffs against a team like they play.
And I had Minnesota picked pretty far to go just based on their offensive alone. But, if you can't play defense, you can't win games. That's just, the Ravens back in the early 2000s, I mean, they showed that. They won how many ever Super Bowls because they had a stout defense. The NFL is not built on pure offensive teams. These guys are way too big, moving around way too quick.
Oh, everybody wants to be in that run and gun offense. Everybody's passing the ball all the time.
Yeah, so you got to play defense.
Your true NFL teams are in the AFC North. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, they're ground and pounding and open up for the pass. So
yeah, and you can't anticipate putting up 30 plus points a game every single game. I mean, it's just not going to happen, and you can't play from behind. That's what Minnesota did much of the year. They were the come from behind, comeback kids, whatever you want to call them, but they were constantly playing from behind. Offense looked great, but their defense just was terrible. So
yep.
I don't doubt their need to fire him. So
I 100% agree.
But yeah, which leads us in. We can kind of go ahead and talk about some more of the coaching stuff while we're at it. We have Sean Payton. Of course, he's still the hot topic of conversation at this point. A lot of people still questioning whether he's going to wind up at the end. I think Denver still has the best shot, in my opinion, after the Chargers have obviously not been ones that are going to give up their head coach. So what do you think about that one?
Well, this one's a hard one, man. I don't think he ends up anywhere. I think he's absolutely holding out for a job that he knows going to win at right now. I don't think he wants to rebuild a team. I think he's in a win now mentality. Plus, the Saints are wanting a first round draft pick to get him. So
Yeah, they're wanting a lot, and that's why I think the only team, in my opinion, that could even sort of play ball would be the Broncos because obviously the Waltons just bought that team up. If there's anybody that's going to have money and the desire to do something with the team, it's going to be them, in my opinion. What do you think about it, Mikey?
Yeah. They also said that another possible landing spot also could be for Houston. He could go to Houston too. Another possible landing spot for Sean Payton if he does back.
Yeah, and they have talked about Houston. I think that would be a like Country was saying. I don't know about him wanting to come in and do a complete rebuild. That may be a tough sell to him for Texas. The Texans. That might be one that I don't know if he would take that up, but who knows?
I think if he goes into Houston, if he comes to Houston, right? If he comes in and changes the coaching staff, hire D'Amico Ryans as your defensive coordinator. If he doesn't get a head coaching job somewhere, you just had the Browns got rid of Jim Schwartz. He's another defensive guy that could come in. I mean, there's I think wait a minute, I'm sorry, Jim Schwartz is an offensive coordinator. My fault.
That's what,
Or the Ravens. Go with the Ravens. The Ravens just fired Greg Roman today. If he goes out, if Sean Payton comes into Houston and get Romans to come in as the offensive coordinator, or D'Amico Ryans come in as the defensive coordinator, he's got a good coaching staff right there underneath him. All he needs to do is go out and get the players in the draft, and they got the second round pick.
yeah.
I mean, you're going to get a quarterback out of this draft no matter what. Now you got to do is build around. What are you going to do to build around him? And they could come out. They could come out really good here. Use a good spot for him.
Yeah, and I mean the Texans have potential. I mean, I'm not living in the Houston sports market. I've never been really thrilled with Houston sports until the Astros' most recent run. But it seems like both the Texans and the Rockets, they just kind of like flounder all season long, and it seems like that's been kind of the regular for Houston sports. So as much money as they have in this market, I don't understand. This is the third largest city in America. If you have that many potential sports fans, you should be putting out a better product.
And who says that who says the Texans can't go out and get Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
And then Peyton and then Peyton comes back in. Now he's looking great. He doesn't have to take a quarterback with that first pick. He can go somewhere else with that pick and get a stronger defensive player or a better offensive lineman or even go after that D tackle from Georgia. I mean, there's so many scenarios with Houston with you can trade the first pick. If you get Lamar Jackson, you can trade that first round pick and to get more picks.
Speaking on, I know you had mentioned D'Amico Ryans. I know that a lot of people are looking at him. I remember D'Amico Ryans briefly in his playing career as a potential head coaching candidate as well. He's with San Francisco for I think it was the last 4 or 5 years. He's been a D coordinator for the 49ers. A lot of the players around the league really respect him. I've heard really good things. You know how he runs and manages his team or his players. So,
the players coach.
Yeah, I think that'd be a potentially a good hire for a lot of different teams as well.
I would love to see him get a head coaching job, and I would really like to see him get a head coaching job at Carolina. I think he things with that defense over there. Carolina doesn't have a bad defense. Their struggles are on offense, but their defense is not that bad.
I know there have been some talk of D'Amico Ryans, possibly Denver. Of course, I'm not saying this because I'm a Denver fan. I'm not partial one way or the other. I know Denver had talked about what's his name, Shaw, that was a Stanford head coach. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different potential things. I think D'Amico Ryans is one of those. If he steps into the right situation, it could be a great thing for him.
Oh, and I just got more breaking news. Kirby Smart from Georgia is going to interview with the Indianapolis Colts this week.
Nice.
So, I don't know if he leaves Georgia or not because he's in a pretty good spot and he's like the 5th highest paid coach in college football. So I don't know if he leaves, but if he wants to take the opportunity, the Colts would be a great spot for him.
We look at a lot outside of maybe Pete Carroll. I can't think of too many other college head coaches that have gone up to the pros and done well. You look at some of the other recent ones, like Harbaugh has been there a couple of times. You have Chip Kelly that's done it. Those ones I can just think of right off the top of my head, but it's a whole different ball game. You're talking about going from where you have 90-something scholarship players, 80-something scholarship players to 52 men. It's a whole different atmosphere, and these are big boys that are running around crushing each other.
Right.
These are the top how many ever are in the NFL players in the world that play that game.
Mm-hmm.
Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka is set for an interview Sunday with the Colts, Panthers, and the Texans for a head coaching job. And the Giants defensive coordinator Mark Martindale has an interview with the Colts on Sunday. And DeMeco Ryan had an interview with the Broncos today, and then comes around on Friday and goes to Houston for it.
Yep.
And there's a lot of good potential candidates out there for sure.
DeMeco Ryan to Houston makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because he's a former Texan. He knows the system. He could come in and change it around too. I mean, it makes a lot of sense for that.
It does.
So.
It does make a lot of sense. Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Usually, former players going back to the place where they played end up in a good spot. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you already have the respect of that area for the most part, as long as you weren't a crappy player when you're there. But for the most part, you already have the fan base that'll back you. They always like to see the homeboy return, hometown boy.
Right. Well, even if you wasn't that good of a player in the NFL, look at Byron Leftwich. He was an okay player in the NFL. He wasn't great, but is he one of the top offensive coordinators in the NFL? Absolutely. He's got a Super Bowl under his belt. He's been to the Tampa Bay's been to the playoffs. Every year he's been the offensive coordinator there, and for some reason they fired him. I don't understand the firing. For one, maybe it's because he doesn't feel like if he leaves, maybe he doesn't feel like he'll leave, even though he's up for a head coaching job. Maybe I don't know what they're thinking on that one. It just doesn't make sense to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you look at the numbers this year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, we have an aging, and don't get me wrong, I still think he's probably the greatest quarterback to ever play, at least in my lifetime for sure. If not in the history of the NFL, he's one of the greatest, or if not the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. But, I mean, the man's 45, Yeah. I mean, I get that. I think he's got the money. He's got the ability to pay people to help him train, all that kind of stuff. I get that, but at some point your body's got to shut down a little bit. I mean, Brett Favre tried it; it didn't last very long for him.
Well, Brett Favre liked to do a scrambling. Tom Brady doesn't do much scrambling.
No.
his 5.25 40 ain't cutting it.
But I mean,
that was in '99. He's probably running a 6.1 now.
You just look at that. You look at their run game was terrible this year. I mean, they just had a lot of issues on offense in general.
Yeah, they only averaged, I think it was 76 yards a game rushing the ball. It's not good, especially when you got Fournette and you got that what's his name, Ronnie. I can't think of his last name right now, but
White.
Ronnie White. Yeah, from USC. Yeah, you had both of those guys, and you couldn't produce no more than 76 yards rushing a game.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So,
but he was the fall guy. I just feel that Byron Leftwich is the fall guy. Like you said, he wasn't the greatest quarterback, but he's been a good coach. I mean, he's been able to keep the offense rolling.
I believe he should get a head coaching job somewhere just to give him a shot.
Obviously, it helps having Tom Brady on your team. I mean, that's never a bad thing. Yep. What you think? What you think about that, Mr. Mike?
Yeah. He'd be a good offensive coordinator. I mean, a lot of stuff happening in Tampa Bay right now that I don't know. They're just cleaning house,
Yeah.
getting new people in. They see what they're doing.
So that leads us to the next little topic of conversation. Speaking of Tampa Bay, what are we looking for on Tom Brady? What do you think he does this offseason?
I think he's gone.
Yeah.
It's either. I think it's either well. There's a couple situations here. He could retire if Tua's not healthy and can't go because he's had so many concussions and has to retire. He goes to Miami, and I'm going to tell you, if he goes to Miami, offense will not be stopped. I'll tell you straight up right now.
Yeah.
In another situation, he could land up in the Vegas with the Raiders. I think that's his three choices. I think that's his three choices. Because you're Tom Brady, you're not going to go back to the Texans because that's you're not going to have seasons there. You don't have anybody to throw to. Hopefully, Meaty for the Texans. Hopefully, he gets back on the field this year. And I just don't. I don't know. That's the only three options I think Brady has: retirement, Dolphins, or Raiders.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Tom Brady's been doing it for a long time. I mean, never count the man out. I look at his career at this point, though. To me, it looks a lot like Peyton Manning in the end. Like he just doesn't have the strength. You know, like you said, he's not mobile anymore at all. Even though he wasn't really when he was earlier in his career, but still, he has no mobility left. That boy getting hit a few times, that leaves marks on your body after a while. You know, and then you don't really have a running game to speak of in Tampa Bay right now. Some of the receivers are banged up, you know, so it's hard to stay in a situation like that.
Yeah, I mean, you lost may even lost Russell Gage for his career with a the back injury that he's got. Not back injury. I'm sorry, it's a neck injury with a concussion on top of it. So you don't know what his future is going to be. So I mean, that's minus you one receiver. So who knows?
So, Mikey, what you got?
Yeah. I just think he should just retire. He's getting too old to play the game.
Yeah.
Just retire and be the GOAT. You're the GOAT right now. So be retired. Don't keep going and make yourself look like a fool out there.
So if all else fails, my bet is on retirement. I think he steps down.
My bet's on the Raiders, to be honest with you.
That might be good. That might be a good spot for him. So we'll see what happens.
Good offensive line. You got Devontae Adams. I think if you bring in Brady to play with the Raiders, I think you actually get to keep Devontae Adams from leaving because Devontae really want to be there when you just got rid of his best friend Derek Carr. The only reason he came to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Raiders are in a bad situation right
now. Speaking of quarterbacks on the move, let's talk about Lamar Jackson for a minute here. Not really sure what to make of this situation. I know there's been a lot of speak amongst his team about his desire and his lack of performance. I don't know if him staying in Baltimore would be a good fit, but I don't know where else in the NFL he could wind up. What do you guys think about that?
Well, there's plenty of places where he can wind up. Let's not mistake that. He's going to wind up somewhere. I think they're going to franchise tag him. Maybe they franchise tag him and then try to trade him when it comes to the draft, something like that. But I mean, it's a toss up on him, man. I mean, I hear he doesn't want to come back to Baltimore. Harbaugh says it's a 200% chance that he's going to be back in a Ravens uniform. I don't agree with Harbaugh. I think he probably ends up in Indianapolis with the Colts.
What you think? This is your team right here, man on the couch. Tell us,
yeah.
Give us your wisdom here. What you think about this situation with Lamar?
Yeah. Lamar Jackson said he don't want to go back to Baltimore.
Yeah.
They said basically he's upset over the fact that they gave Raekwon Smith his money to re-sign him, and he should have got it before Raekwon Smith did. But to me, that's suck it up and take what they give you, and if you're second, you're second. Like Baltimore needs a defense. They need a linebacker, and who's not as good to get Raekwon Smith and re-sign him real quick before somebody else tries to come snag him up if they can't afford him.
Well,
so that was a good deal for the Ravens to sign him, but at the same time, Lamar Jackson just showed like, okay, well, you're not going to pay me. I'm not going to play in the playoffs. If he's still hurt, he's still hurt. He's not, and that was a dirty move on him for not to come and show Baltimore that he could come in and play and try to lead them to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to me, I think they franchise tag him and either keep him or they trade him off.
Well, according to ESPN here, I'm looking at the article right now. It's talking about they have until March that they're talking about that if he says he's finished the 5th year option on his rookie deal. If no new deal is completed by March, then Baltimore will place the franchise tag on him, which means that they could keep him potentially for 2 more years as an unrestricted, or before it becomes an unrestricted free agent. I wouldn't want him in that situation. I don't think Jim Harbaugh would want him in that situation if the dude decides he wants to leave. I think there's a good chance that he would be on his way out. So I don't see him sticking around. I would see maybe a trade happening or something along those lines, but you don't want to keep a guy there that's already kind of decommitted from the team.
At this point, he's a disgruntled player.
Yeah.
And do you really want that in your locker room?
Yeah. Well, and then the team has lost faith in him too.
Yeah. I mean, you got Dobbins coming out and saying, well, if Lamar played on Sunday, we'd have beat the Bengals. And then you got Sammy Watkins saying, oh, is he faking his injury? You know?
Yeah, that's the real problem to me is when these guys start calling him out for being somebody that's faking injuries.
Yep. Well, see, he had this injury before. And this injury before, he was back in 2 weeks. So we're talking right now 6 weeks, and he couldn't come back on the same injury you already had. I don't know, man. It doesn't make any sense. I think, and when you go back to Roquan Smith ain't asking as much money as Lamar. Lamar wants guaranteed money, and he wants to be the top. He wants to be the top dog with the money. But here's one thing with that: how can you be the top dog with the money when you haven't even won a playoff game?
Yeah, true.
That's very true. Very true. Yeah. You got to show something before you can get something. That's the idea. Show that you're the top dog. You haven't showed anything that you're the top dog yet. You can't even pass the ball. You can run the ball, but you can't pass. Yeah, you might throw over this. But them yardage was made by the receivers that they had in Andrews, the tight end. That wasn't made by him. He threw him short, and they ran. The running backs, they ran them yardage for him when he was the MVP. He had over 3,000 or 4,000 passing yards. That's because that's his receivers and his running back and his tight end. Sorry, helping him out with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on, last year in the playoffs, he had a bunch of receivers wide open, and he was throwing them behind his receivers. Yeah, behind his receivers and overthrowing them, underthrowing them. Like, come on, you're want to be the top dog. You got to show that you're the top dog.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Man on the couch, being that you are the Ravens guy here. If Lamar does end up going somewhere else, who do you see stepping up? Do you see them sticking with Huntley, or do they go chasing a quarterback either through trade or draft?
I can see them giving Huntley a chance, but I see them trying to go get another quarterback either in the draft or trying to trade to get a quarterback in to take to get some reps in to see what they can do. But I see if Lamar leaves, I see the main guy now would probably be Huntley stepping in to take that position. Not full time. Like I said, they're probably going to try to find
very short
another
leash.
quarterback. Yeah, they're going to try to find another quarterback that would fit in their little scheme they got going on out there in Baltimore. That's what I see.
Country, what you got to say on that?
I,
What do you think?
I think he's going to end up somewhere else for sure. I do think that they're gonna. I honestly, I think he's probably gonna end up back in Baltimore. I would like to see him somewhere else that weapons, so we can get an actual evaluation on him.
Yeah, he was a great player in college. I mean, there's no doubt that the man has talent.
He was a good player in college. He's got a lot of talent. He's inaccurate. That's his main thing is he's inaccurate. Even though he completes about 50, I think it's 52%, I believe it is.
Well, they went so far when he's in college to questioning the size of his hands. The man apparently has pretty small hands, so he's just got some things as a quarterback going against him.
Yeah. Well, same thing with Burrow. Burrow's got small hands too. Yeah. But you don't have Burrow just only got the big arm that Lamar's got. That's the one thing Lamar's got. He's got the big arm. Lamar in Miami makes perfect sense. He's got two fast receivers in Waddle and Hill. He can throw deep all day. He doesn't have to worry about overthrowing them because you can't overthrow that speed.
Yeah.
So I believe Miami would probably be the best fit for him if Tua can't go.
Yeah, and that's another one too. That's a side situation. I don't think that I've seen some rumor now that he possibly will retire and never see the field again. I hope that they do the right things for him medically. I'd hate to see him come out and then re-injure himself.
Correct.
Because your life isn't worth that. That's just not to me. So I mean, I can see, like you said, someone like Lamar Jackson going into that situation and being an instant comparable quarterback to what Tua was, and a similar system too, because both of them are very athletic quarterbacks. But speaking of which, so let's get into some of the playoff stuff. I know we had a couple more points that we had written down here, but most of them tie into games that are going on this weekend. So with that, I want to lead into what we saw last week, and obviously we're going to start off. We'll just go in order of the games as we watched them last weekend. And we'll just kind of give a quick little brief synopsis of what we saw. Maybe what the teams that were end up going down, gone fishing, whatever you want to call it, wound up, and we'll kind of go from there and kind of look forward to this next week with the teams that moved on. So let's go ahead and start with San Fran versus Seattle. What you think about that one, Country?
Well, I thought it was going to be a better game than what it was. The sack fumble in the third quarter on Geno Smith really turned that game around. It was a 1-point game at halftime.
Yeah.
So when that sack fumble happened, that completely turned that whole game. Seattle just couldn't come back from it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I definitely agree that the first half was great. It was a great game. I was actually kind of worried about, because I mean, I'm not a San Francisco fan, but I liked them to win that game. I thought for sure they would just run away with it. The first half, I was like, oh, well, maybe we got a game here. But the second half, it wasn't even much to speak of. So I like Brock Purdy. I think he went from Mr. Irrelevant to Mr. Relevant in the course of a weekend. 41-23, I mean, it looked nice the second half.
Yeah, it looked really good in that second half.
And Seattle Geno Smith's a good quarterback, but I don't think Seattle has the defense nor the offense to beat a team like the 49ers.
Not right now.
No.
Well, they'll get there within a couple drafts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they'll be fine.
So I think Purdy is proving himself. For you to be in a close game like that and then basically just push it over the edge in the second half, I think that would really was a good run for him. What do you think about that, Mr. Man on the Couch? You got anything to say on the 49ers Seahawks game?
Well, Seahawks just after that fumble happened, like Country was saying, Geno Smith has lost confidence. He lost what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't the Geno Smith we've been seeing in the season that was completing all these passes and making plays for the Seahawks. He made that fumble, and when your quarterback drops, everybody else is going to drop down too. And try not to build up. But like you said, Purdy came in there, third string quarterback, came in there and just showed us why he should be in the starting position on really any team. Like led his team, led the 49ers to the next round in the playoffs.
Just his demeanor and his calm nature. I mean, the guy took control of the game when he came in. You know, that's why he's kind of been the last 5 games, 6 games now of the season, including the playoffs.
Yeah, he's been stepping up, and he's been doing his job, doing what the 49ers wanted him to do. They didn't expect it from him, but they wanted him to do that, and that's what he's doing.
But we also got to figure Brock Purdy hasn't played the defenses like he's going to face this weekend.
No,
true.
Yeah, they got tough defense coming up.
Dallas's defense is no joke.
If he can make it over Dallas, I think this will be an amazing rise of a quarterback to see him.
It over Dallas. Trey Lance is going to be sitting on the bench when he comes back.
seeing him go from Mr. Irrelevant last pick in the NFL draft to leading a team into the playoffs and then at least winning one game. He's the youngest quarterback to ever win a playoff game. He's the youngest quarterback to ever start an NFL playoff game. And just the confidence that he came in with, even though that first half was not great for him. I mean, he's one of those that he's a great game manager on top of it. So I think he's got a lot of good tangibles going forward.
Yeah, he got talent. I give him. He got some talent.
Yeah.
I think you see the rookie Brock Purdy really come out this weekend, though.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how Dallas stacks up against him. That's going to be a tough game for him for sure. Yep. Let's move on to the LA Superchargers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I personally picked LA in this one, even though it pains me. I'm going to put my hat here where everybody can see my Broncos logo on it, even though it pains me that I picked them. But I was truly shocked at how that game turned out.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence looked like Achilles Smith in that first half, and then come out in the second half and look like Peyton Manning. So
it was a pretty amazing turnaround. I mean, to throw 4 interceptions and then have 5 turnovers in the first half, and you come back.
Well, yeah, and another thing is, the Chargers didn't make any changes at halftime, and you could tell it. Should they have made some changes? Absolutely. Yeah. Why did they not make changes? That's my question.
Well, they were just slow playing and hoping to hold on,
I think so too, and I think that's a big problem with some of these teams with these younger players. Like you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You press that gas in the playoffs. I'm sorry, but you do.
Yeah. Yeah, this is they looked very flat in the second half, and I thought they would pick it back up. Maybe halfway through the third quarter, maybe getting into the fourth quarter, but it's just like they couldn't get anything going. And I mean, Jacksonville just came out and just punched them in the mouth repeatedly, and they said you ain't doing nothing against us today.
Yeah, it's crazy the way it's the tale of two halves, man.
If that wasn't a confidence builder for Trevor Lawrence, I don't know what is. Because, like I said, the dude comes out and throws 4 picks and still leads them back to win a playoff game.
Yep.
And it's not like, Los Angeles is not a pushover team. I mean, Herbert, again, I'm a Ducks fan. I love Herbert. He's a great NFL quarterback, too. I mean, they have a good team around him. It's just, that was absolutely a shock to me that they came back the way they did.
I just don't understand why the Chargers didn't, use the clock to their advantage. You got Eckler in the backfield.
Yeah.
The man's a phenomenal running back. Let's not take that the wrong he is. Utilize him. Like you're up 20. What was it? 23 points.
Yeah.
Something like that.
27 at the half.
Was it 27? Okay. Yeah, you're up that many points at the half. all you got to do is come out, run the ball, and use the clock. Use that play clock to your advantage. Run that thing down to 1 and hide the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you got to do.
Which, I mean, I have to give the Chargers credit. They were a little thin at the receiver core, but that shouldn't have been an
Mr.
excuse.
Mike Evans, yeah.
That shouldn't
Or
have been
Mike
an excuse.
Williams. No, because Josh Palmer was having a good game.
Mikey T, what's your say on this one? I know you picked Jacksonville.
I picked Jacksonville to be my upset because all season they've been coming out either the first half or the second half wanting to play. They want it. They want to be a top team. Trevor Lawrence, he ain't the best quarterback, but he's a decent quarterback. He led his team to come back and beat the Chargers in the playoffs. The Chargers is like got you comfortable. Oh yeah, we're up 27-0 or whatever. And in halftime, they're just like, oh, we're just gonna come out. We're just gonna keep playing all the game. And the Jaguars came out and said, we got to play harder. We got to step up. We're making too many mistakes, and we got to step on offense and defense. And that's exactly what they did. And look at the turnout. They came back and won.
Yep.
I mean, you look at that game, just the stat line alone on Trevor Lawrence. He was 28 for 47, which is good for 288 yards, 6 yards average, 4 touchdowns. But then you look at that 4 interceptions. You don't. I mean, you look at that stat, and you're like, wait a second. There's no way they won that game. But man, they pulled it out. His QBR was a 31.6. I mean, that's a terrible QBR. Then you still won a playoff game.
I give it the Jacksonville's defense stepped up the second half. They stepped up. They played defense.
They did.
Oh, they shut them down.
Like they've been playing all season. That's what they need to do. That defense gonna have to step up this weekend because they got a hot team.
Yeah,
they got a real hot team. Yes, that defense wants to play hard, step up, and the first half and the second half, not just the second half. They got to come
you got to be a full
ready
team.
to play. They're not gonna come back and do that against
Kansas City. No.
Patrick Mahomes and the
Patrick
Chiefs. I'm
Mahomes
sorry.
will destroy them.
Yeah, he will.
So moving on to the next game here, we got Miami at Buffalo. I think this kind of just went the way that everybody kind of expected it for a while, and then Miami started making their comeback, which was another surprise.
Yeah,
Bills got
the Bills. Well, I don't know if the Bills got comfortable. I think what happened was Miami just made changes on the defensive side, and they was getting a lot of pressure on Josh Allen. So, if you go back and you look at the stats, I believe he was hit 11 times and sacked 4, I believe. But if you're getting pressure on him, and then the sack fumble at the beginning of the third quarter, that changed momentum so big. But they were able to overcome it and come back and get the win, the Bills. So
yeah, and then I mean, you got on top of that, Allen throwing the ball away a couple times in that game. I mean, they were looking to give that game to Miami if they could have.
Well, that's Josh Allen's downfall in the playoffs. He's got 22 postseason turnovers.
Yeah.
So that's his downfall. If you can get him to turn the ball over, you got a good chance of winning.
Yeah. Bills. They've been a good team. They were good last year. Obviously, this week's gonna be a little bit tougher challenge for them. I know where your pick lies on this one, country. But at the same time, I mean, they've been a good team. I mean, they were great last year. I look for them to do about the same this year. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they can put a complete game together, though. I think that's gonna be the biggest thing for them coming this next week. But yeah, I mean, I picked Buffalo in that game. I didn't have any doubt that they'd win that game, but that was a lot closer than it probably should have been.
A lot closer than I wanted it to be.
Especially with Tua being out. I mean, the first couple drives, it was like, this is just going to be a blowout because Skylar Thompson couldn't throw the ball to save his life. The Bills were just moving the ball up down the field. They were getting 3 and outs over and over and over. And then all of a sudden, Miami just turned it on.
If you remember, I had that score 38-10.
Yeah.
It ended up, I think, 34-31.
34-31.
Like that.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Like I said, that's another big, almost potential comeback that could have gone either way. And then the next game we'll move on to New York Giants versus Minnesota. I'm disappointed in this game. I had Minnesota going a lot deeper than this, but like we talked about earlier, Minnesota can't play defense, and their offense was not going in that game, not the way that it had been all season.
The Giants came to play.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones looked the best he's ever looked in a Giants uniform.
Yeah, for sure. I mean that was a big surprise to me because I don't think were the Giants that pretty much they tied at the first, and then pretty much after that they were up the whole entire game. There was one point they were tied 24-24 at the end. I thought Minnesota might come back and do another one of their miraculous comeback victories.
Right.
But,
No, I knew as long as Saquon Barkley had a big game, the Giants were going to win that game because of the Vikings defense. The Vikings have a good offense. I hate to say it, but they do need a quarterback. They need a quarterback. Kirk Cousins is at his end.
But if you look at the Giants, speaking of Saquon Barkley, he only rushed for 53 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns, but they were both short yardage type situations, I think. Well, I know one was 2 yards or less. I don't know about the second one.
It was the explosive plays.
Yeah.
It was the explosive plays that Barkley had that made the difference in the game.
Because Daniel Jones rushed for 78 yards.
Right.
Yeah, that's the first half. That's what killed the Vikings. The first half, Daniel Jones ran all over them. Ran all over the Vikings.
He put the wheels on.
Yeah, they couldn't stop him. He was just getting the ball running, and when they started stopping him for halftime, they made a change.
He also threw for 301 yards on 2 touchdowns. So I mean, Daniel Jones had a good game. I mean, that was a complete game for a dude like that. Unexpected, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was the best game of his career, and I hope he continues it this weekend.
Yeah, I think he'll look good. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Like you said, Kirk Cousins. I don't know, long term if that's the solution in Minnesota, but Minnesota's got to build a defense. If they don't build a defense, I think this is the end of the road for that team.
Yeah, that's the one thing that they're missing. When Mike Zimmer was there, they had a defense.
Yeah.
They fired Mike Zimmer, and now your defense looks like trash, like hot trash. Like you're 31st in the league. I think Zimmer was doing a good job.
Yeah, and I mean,
well, they do got a new coach. This is first year, so.
And they built their team around that offense, and that was the thing. And you can't do that. Like I said, I love Pac-12 football, and I love watching run and gun offense that it was for like most of the early 2000s, mid 2010s. But you can't play professional football in that manner. These guys will smack you in the mouth. I mean, it's just you can't do that and rely on that consistently.
Not in the NFL.
No, you got to have a good defense that can at least hold them to.
College, you can get away with it, but you're not getting away with it.
No. So let's move on to the one the country would love to talk about here. Let's get Baltimore. Mikey's not too happy about this one, but Baltimore, Cincinnati. I think it ended up.
Mikey picked the Bengals. He's happy about it.
I think it ended up a whole lot closer than what it should have been.
Yeah, absolutely. Baltimore came to play.
Yeah,
Baltimore came to play. I give them that. They came to play without Lamar Jackson.
They did.
They came out there and they played Ravens football.
I mean,
the offense wasn't too hot, but that defense, they stepped up and they played Raven football.
Literally, that came down to a matter of inches. Like the 2 plays that changed that whole entire game came down to a matter of inches. The fumble pick, the fumble 6, and then the very end, the last play that, in all reality, Baltimore should have caught that. It hit the dude's fingertips. I mean, those 2 plays right there pretty much determined that game.
Yeah, I don't know what Mike Hilton was thinking on that Hail Mary.
He kind of swat it down.
Yeah, he went up in front of like 3 other Bengals that could have just intercepted it if they wanted to, and he tipped it away from them. Like, I don't know. I understand making a play on the ball, but damn, Hilton, what are you thinking, man?
Yeah.
Almost gave him a tie.
Yeah, it was close.
But yeah,
I'm not impressed with our game. If we don't get a running game within the next couple of days, we are not going to get past the Buffalo Bills. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Bills defense. Y'all need to run. Y'all need to have a good running game. Y'all got a good passing game. Y'all need to run. Y'all need to mix it up. Y'all gotta have a good running game against that
Well,
defense.
our problem
That'd
is
be-
we're not playing smash mouth running style like you should be. What we're doing is we're lining up in shotgun and we're handing the ball off to Mixon out of the shotgun. That's not how Mixon gets going.
I'm going to jump over real quick. I'm going to put us on this other screen here for just a moment, and I want us to look at that last play that I think really just kind of determined the game. You guys might not be able to see it on yours, but this is the Huntley play. Sticking the ball out.
Sticks the ball out. The Bengals have the ball.
Run, Sam, run!
And I mean, you just look at that play in general. Like I said, that completely changed the whole entire course of that game, the outlay of that game.
It was all coaching and Huntley. Huntley shouldn't try to jump over and stick the ball out when his whole offensive line stood up.
No,
the whole offensive line was stood up. He should have
just take.
They should have came
the
up with a totally different play. They should have came with a totally different play.
It's just
or they should have kicked the field goal.
It's just like throwing the ball away. Like you got to take the hit there at that point and just keep the ball in your hands.
I think this is on Huntley, not on the. I think the call was perfect, but there's no reason for a quarterback to jump over the top. Yeah. He should have went low. You got two running backs behind you to help push you through the line. Yeah. No reason to jump up in the air there, and definitely no reason to stretch the ball out, especially when you're 2 yards away from the end zone and you got small arms.
Yeah.
Thanks, Huntley. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, due to Huntley, country's moving on.
The Bengals move on.
And I think Hubbard had to sit on the sideline for a little bit and get some O, too. He was huffing and puffing.
He did, and I hope to God he's got some O2 by this weekend so he can play.
Yeah. That was an amazing, a lot closer game than what it should have been, but I enjoy watching stuff like that. I like to watch those kind of plays where you have a defense that shuts down the run like that and ends up with I like watching the pick sixes and the fumble sixes and those kind of things.
Yeah, we had some key injury in that game. We lost our left tackle, Jonah Williams. He's day to day with a kneecap dislocated kneecap. So I think that he's day to day. Alex Kappa's day to day. If both of those guys can figure out a way to play this weekend, I think we have a shot at Buffalo. But if we have to put Jackson Carman at left tackle, I think that they overrun him. Yeah. They blitz from his side. We're going to have to run a 2 tight end set probably this weekend in order to get some kind of a running game going, which is going to limit us in a lot of ways. I don't understand why they didn't go out and look at free agents to see if there was a tackle out there that could come in and play right away.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough when you don't have a O-line that can really do much. This will be hard.
I think the Bengals will be all right. I really do. But that O-line position is rough. But look at the line. Look what we did last year with no offensive line.
Yeah. So what you think about your boy Mr. Burrow and his performance this weekend?
Played good. I just wish we could run the ball more instead of relying on throwing the ball almost every play.
Yeah. Yeah, that's obviously most teams build through the run. That's a tough situation when you got to constantly be relying on the throw.
Yep.
Especially if your O-line's beat up.
Like we're constantly in 3rd and long because we don't even attempt to run the ball on 1st down, and eventually it's going to hurt.
Yeah, for sure. So I think ultimately ended up the way that it should have ended up. But like I said, it was a lot closer game than what I would have given credit for. Which leads us to our last game here, Dallas at Tampa, and I'm going to show a quick little picture here. I just want everybody to remember the game that was.
I know what's coming. I already know.
That's my cut on the old Cowboys for the weekend. How you can miss 3 chip shot extra points in a row?
In a row.
I'm not a Dallas fan at all. Everybody knows that. I'm glad to see
it's sad because he is a good kicker.
Yeah.
Like he missed 3 all year, extra points, and I think 2 field goals and 3 extra points all season. And the guy I don't know if he was just pushing it or missed hitting it or what, man. It's just he had a bad game. I think he recovers this weekend though.
Oh, yeah. You get those games where you have times like that. I mean, I don't think I could go out and be a pro. I played soccer for 20 years, and I don't think I could go be a pro kicker. I mean, there's way too much on the line in those games.
I mean, go back and watch the Bengals and the Packers from last year. Neither kicker can make a field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
And then they finally the Packers finally hit one in overtime to beat us. Like it's just that thing, man. You have your days.
That's an undervalued position in a lot of ways. I mean, people don't think of football being a kicker sport, but I mean, it's a valuable position, especially late at the end of the games. You know, when you need it, it's on the line. I wouldn't want to be standing out there.
Let's just say the Patriots know that a kicker is good for them. I mean, how many Vinatieri hit for them?
Oh yeah,
to win Super Bowl.
No doubt.
So,
but overall, the game, Dallas, they look good. I mean, a lot better than I had hoped for, but I didn't think they would I didn't think they would lose the game by any means.
If Dallas plays like that, the rest of the playoffs, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they could definitely.
Parsons had a good game. Also.
Yeah. Dak Prescott's best game probably as a Cowboy. Let's be honest.
I'm just hoping
four passing touchdowns and a rush touchdown. I mean,
I'm just hoping to see him more Tony Romo than Dak Prescott next week. So that's just my personal opinion. I'm ready for the ultimate collapse of the Cowboys. Like I was telling Country earlier, I can always tell how well the Cowboys are doing when I walk by the Dallas Cowboys store in the mall. If it's full, they're doing great. If it's empty, they're doing terrible.
Where though you see that,
but this is a rematch from last year.
Yeah,
it's a rematch.
Cowboys ran out of time last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see which way it goes. I really think that Dallas can pull it off. To be honest with you, with their defense.
Yeah.
It'll be one to see.
But you also get the Niners also got them a beast running back too, and McCaffrey. McCaffrey's been doing amazing since he went over to the 49ers.
Yeah, that's the thing. The 49ers got a lot of weapons. I mean,
yeah, he's been doing amazing. Like, great.
I mean,
don't get me wrong, he did great in Carolina, but he's doing real great. He's helping them Niners.
You got Deebo Samuel. I mean, you got a lot of good receivers on 49ers too that create matchup problems.
And don't forget about Elijah. Elijah, he's good too.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's talk about
the second running back. So.
Let's jump into this week's games, and we'll talk about those for a few minutes, and then kind of wrap it up and give some predictions here and see where we're going. First game we're going to talk about, obviously, like we did last week, we're going to go in order of matchup. First game we're going to talk about is going to be Jacksonville at Kansas City. Who you got on this one, Country?
Oh, I don't think y'all know who I got right now. That opened up Trevor Lawrence, and I believe that defense can play with Kansas City. I really do. I still think the Chiefs are going to win, though. You thought I was going with a curveball there, didn't you?
I was waiting for it.
It's an Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And I think that I just don't think that the Jaguars are ready yet. They will be in a couple years, but they're not ready yet.
Yeah, it's a young team.
Yep.
I obviously, again, I'm not a Kansas City fan. Another team I despise within our division, but I like to see young quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes to me is not perfect, but he does some pretty talented things with the skill that he's got. I mean, the guy can literally underhand a ball about anywhere on the field. I mean, the guy can no-look pass over his shoulder, throwing behind him. I've seen some pretty amazing throws by this guy. Kansas City to me, overall, that's my Super Bowl pick. I'm going to pick him to win this game, and I'm going to pick him to win big going away. What do you think about that one, Mikey?
Yeah, I feel you too. The Chiefs got this one. Chiefs got this one. Yeah, like Crunchy said, the Jaguars got a good defense, but they're not the top defense that could stop Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs as that. So I got the Chiefs. Got the Chiefs in this one. I got them going probably 31 to 10.
And of course, with the coach Andy Reid, he likes cheeseburgers. I like cheeseburgers. I like Andy Reid. So I'm going with Kansas City, obviously, on this one. If I picked them to win the Super Bowl, I think they're too much. They're too much for a lot of teams to handle. Offense, defense, special teams. I mean, they just move the ball well. I hate to say it, but they're going to be a power to contend with for a long time in the AFC West.
Yeah, I don't know. It's this game could go either way. It just depends on which Jacksonville team shows up.
Yeah.
If that second half Jacksonville team shows up for
It'll
four
be
quarters,
a good game. It could be a close game.
Who knows?
It's a good game.
Yeah.
If that first half team shows up, man.
Right.
Well, right now by ESPN Analytics, it's got a 78% chance for the Kansas City Chiefs to win that game. Yeah, so that's a huge deficit to overcome.
It is, but I would figure it was going to be more of around a 90.
Yeah. I mean, Kansas City just played Kansas City football all season long. I mean, that's just what they are. That's how they're built. Speaking of games, let's move on to New York versus Philadelphia. I'll start out on this one. I picked Philadelphia in this one. I think the Philadelphia Eagles deserve it. I think they have played solid all season long. At the beginning of the season, nobody would have picked, I don't think, Philadelphia to win that. I think everybody was hot on Dallas. And I think they showed up well and did very well this season. Obviously in the lead in that division all year long. What do you think about a country?
Mikey, go on this one.
All right,
next.
Mikey. Tell us what you think.
Well, my pick was Minnesota to move on, but Minnesota did move on. This is going to be my upset game. I got the Giants.
Uh-oh. The New York Football Giants.
I'm going to pick the Giants to beat the Eagles in this game. The Eagles are a great team. Don't get me wrong. With Jalen Hurts back now, they're going to be tough to beat. But they still got some key injuries, though. The Eagles. But I see the Giants taking this, pulling it off. It's going to be a close game. Probably a mid-scoring game in the 20s, I say. So I see the Giants pulling it off.
All right.
You got Matthew Stafford, the head coach. He's doing good over there.
Yep. Dabo's doing a great job. I'm with you too. I got the Giants in this one too.
Nice.
And the reason I have the Giants in this one is because is the Eagles really, really that good? Like Dallas beat them 40-3. Dallas beat them
Gardner Minshew though, 40-34, and then 26-17. The Eagles won.
Getting Jalen Hurts. You're only getting Jalen Hurts at 70%.
I think Jalen Hurts
at 70% is that good enough?
Daniel Jones at 100%. In that offense,
I don't know. If Daniel Jones comes and plays like he did this past weekend, and I'm taking. That's why I'm taking the Giants. I think if he could put two games together, And I had the Giants in the AFC.
I
In the
mean,
AFC
Jalen Hurts came back off
anyway.
an injury in the last game they played against New York with 20 of 35 for 229 yards and 1 interception, and they still won the game.
But you have a
22-16.
you have a problem with the Eagles though at right tackle. Lane Johnson is out. Their main offensive guy, offensive lineman.
They have some key injuries still out.
Right. So, is their line going to hold up? Is Jalen Hurts going to be under pressure the entire game because of that right tackle's position being out?
We'll see.
That's what you got to look at.
Time,
and they got Thibodeau. Thibodeau's coming on quick a lot.
They had a week off to heal a little bit, so I think that helps out Jalen Hurts not having to play last week.
Yeah, it's that one's a toss-up game, man, because I don't think the Eagles are as good as everybody thinks they are.
I don't know.
I still say the 49ers and the Cowboys are the best teams in the NFC.
You think? So you're calling that your NFC division or your championship game?
Yeah, that's what I had.
Whoever wins that one moves on.
That's what I had. Well, I had the Cowboys. I take the Cowboys and Giants championship game.
All right.
That's right.
I can definitely see points, but for sure, I'm still going to stick with Philadelphia. I'm riding Philadelphia. I think they're going to win the NFC, and I think they're going to face the Chiefs in the playoffs, in the finals, in the Super Bowl. So that's what I'm looking forward to that one. Anyway, so let's move on to Cincinnati and Buffalo. I know this is one that you've been hot on, Mr. Country. I know you're looking forward to this game. Right now, ESPN Analytics has it 65% in favor of Buffalo.
Let's go. Let's do it.
There you go.
I think the Bengals can still pull this out even with having injuries on the offensive line. The key to it is you have to play some amazing defense this weekend.
Yeah.
I think that they can pull it out. I think it's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game like everybody thinks it's going to be. I think you're looking more of a 20-17 game. You got two of the top 10 defenses in the NFL playing against each other. I really do believe Cincinnati can pull this game off. But Josh Allen, if you're listening, which I know you're probably not, but still, if you're listening, I need some turnovers, buddy.
Help a brother out, Josh Allen. Come on, my guy. Yeah, no, the Bills have looked good too. I mean, they've looked good for the last several seasons. I think they are set up well to make a deep run as well. I have Buffalo in this one. I don't think Cincinnati can overcome. Like you said, they have a lot of problems on their offensive line. I hate to say it, but I'm going to pick against them on this one because I really think the Bills are just going to be too much to handle overall for them. Oh, somebody's tired. Wake up, sir. We're talking football right now. Talking foosball.
I'm awake.
To the yawning man on the couch.
What you think about this one?
Yeah. I got the Bills.
Got the Bills.
The Bengals. Some key injuries on the offensive line that they're going to need against the Bills. And you got one of the top defensive ends in the NFL. With the linebacker, Von Miller coming in there. To disrupt all that. So they don't have nobody can stop him. Joe Burrow is in some trouble.
Well, Von's out.
Oh, he's out?
Yeah,
he's out. He's out for the season. Yeah, he tore his ACL or something.
But they still got the Bills got tough defense.
Well, they do 100%.
Yeah, and then like Coach was saying earlier, the Bengals going to have to run the ball. They're going to have to run the ball against the Bills. They're going to have to mix it up. They're going to have to have a good running game. They're going to have to come out throwing the ball too. They're going to have both. And right now they're struggling running. And I think the Bills are going to stop them on defense.
So with that, let me cut over to your boy Mr. Mixon here, and kind of what his idea was on it, and see if maybe this little chip on his shoulder can provide a little motivation. But this is Mr. Mixon on his thoughts about the Chiefs and Bills tickets already being pre-sold for the next round if
Heard
it
it was
possibly
brought
is
up
a
in
neutral
the
site.
news that they're selling tickets already for the AFC Championship game potentially at a neutral site.
It's
between
going
the
to be
Chiefs
an
and the Bills.
emotional game.
Is that motivating for you guys at all?
I mean, to be honest, it's disrespectful, but we're not worried about that shit.
Be an emotional
Like I
game
said,
for
we got a
both
game
teams.
to play on Sunday, right? So you can't count us out.
In the regular season.
We got a game to play on Sunday. Like I said,
Week
that other stuff
17,
don't
what
mean
happened
shit.
week 17?
We're gonna go out there on Sunday and we're gonna do what the hell we got to do to come back with that dub. And then we're gonna see what they're talking about.
So I think Mr. Mixon there puts a, you can't just start. I mean, I understand they gotta fill their quotas and they gotta sell their tickets, but that's something else when you start selling tickets in advance.
Yeah, does that not make you think? It almost makes you think like, hey, man, this is set up.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to say, you know what? We already know what the outcome that we want, and that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
And it's like they're trying to set it up to where it is those two teams. Like
the Bills and the Chiefs.
the Chiefs. Yeah, it's just like it's very disrespectful to do that.
Yeah.
For one, why are we not be given that option?
Yeah.
To sell tickets, why do we have to wait?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. It's stupid by the NFL.
So in case you don't know that if both Kansas City and Buffalo do move on, their game will be played at a neutral site in Atlanta, which would be, I believe, a first. I don't know if it's ever happened before, but and then they started allowing them to start selling tickets for that possible neutral site game. To me, which probably pours a little fuel on the fire for some of these guys. I mean, that's obviously, like you said, that's disrespectful. I definitely would agree with that. We'll see if that factors into the game at all. Do these guys come out with that chip on their shoulder like they need to? Because that's what they're going to have. I mean, the Bills have already pretty much put this in their bag. I'm hoping they don't overlook this team. I know they won't, but it could be a tough game for both teams either way. But you definitely don't want to see this if you're the Bills either.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Let's just go to the next topic because that doesn't.
Pour a little salt in that wound there, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, change topic.
Yeah, that's it. Cut. We're on to the next. Well, on that note, we'll move on to Dallas versus San Francisco. I am highly looking forward to this game. I think this is going to be my game of the week. I think this is going to be an exciting game. I think it's going to be a great matchup between two true Super Bowl contenders, no matter how bad that pains me to say that about the Cowboys. I'm going to pick San Francisco to come out on top in this one. I don't know. I might be crazy. But, I mean, right now ESPN has it almost a 50-50. It's 53% Dallas. I look for this to be a really good game, and I look for Brock Purdy to grow up. I look for Brock Purdy to put the team on his shoulders and to do something amazing and to become even more relevant as a quarterback in the NFL.
I like the fact that the NFL put the Super Bowl winner on Sunday already.
Yeah.
Because whoever wins these two games, I believe is going to win the Super Bowl.
You think so?
So, absolutely. Absolutely. I think these are the four best teams in the NFL. I don't have Kansas City up there, and I think it's because I don't have Kansas City up there because of their defense. Their defense is not that great. Their offense is good, but their defense struggles. They struggle a lot against the run, so that's why I have these two teams on Sunday one of them winning the Super Bowl. As for this game, I am going to take the Cowboys. Dak made me a believer this past weekend. He don't turn the ball over. He plays like he does this past weekend. I don't think there's a team in the NFC that can stay with Dallas. And that Dallas defense, I think, is going to make Purdy look like a true rookie.
Mike D, what you think?
I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. Dallas will come out on top with their defense, like Country was saying, Purdy. He's going to show his true colors here because the Dallas front four is going to be tough to hold. Don't get me wrong, the The 49ers got a good offensive line, but I don't know. They got a Dallas defense. It's going to be too much. I think it's going to be too much for Purdy right now, and they can't just rely on McCaffrey the whole entire time. Or Deebo Samuel. They're going to have to. Niners going to have to come out and do some mix-up plays to throw Dallas defense off. That's going to be hard. Dallas got a good defense, and Prescott, he's going to have to play like he did last week. He's going to have to come out there. He's going to have to play his game like they did, and hopefully them Cowboys can get that running game going. They did last week. Hopefully they can get it running going this week against the Niners front four.
Well, I
They
personally
can run the ball.
go ahead. I'm personally looking forward to another Cowboys meltdown at some point in the playoffs. I always enjoy seeing that, but that's just my personal opinion. But as a go ahead.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm excited to have a 49ers and Cowboys playoff game again.
Yeah.
Like that was like NFL playoff tradition back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, way back in the day. Yeah, that was always.
It's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a good game. You got two good head coaches going head to head again.
Yeah.
2 years straight in a row going head to head again. So I think McCarthy's gonna come out on top on this year on top.
Well, that is.
The Cowboys gonna come out on top. It's gonna be a good game. The Niners and the Cowboys always have a good game every time they play.
That is
back then all the way up to now.
I'm excited about that game. Like I said, I think this is going to be probably the best game of the weekend. I'm looking forward to watching that game and seeing how it turns out. I think
it could possibly be the best game of the weekend. But then again, with Purdy being a rookie and Parsons coming off the end, Dallas can turn this into a blowout.
It could. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that boy matured a lot last weekend.
I don't think it'll happen either. I think it's going to be a great game, and I think the final score is not going to be as high as everybody wants it to be. But I'm looking at a 24-21 game. But I don't. I just think that Dallas defense. I mean, the 49ers defense is great. Don't get me wrong, but I think that Dallas defense is just way too tough.
Well, I'm going to side with Stephen A. on this one. And I'm going.
Oh Lord, have mercy!
Sure, all the way.
Sorry.
The Cowboys cannot win this weekend. But I don't know, I look for it to be a good game, and I think especially with the rookie quarterback, if he was going to be the rookie quarterback, I think it would have come out last weekend. That's just my opinion. But there's always that chance he has to slip back.
I'm getting a phone call. What's up, Michael Irvin?
Yeah. We'll see.
So,
Michael Irvin needs to go back to retirement and leave us alone.
I love Michael Irvin. I love watching him on First Take. I love watching him over there on NFL Network. It's great.
Yeah. I said, this will be a good one. I look forward to it. We'll see what happens.
All the games are good this weekend. That's what I want. I want close games all the way around for a good week of football. That's what I want.
And usually your divisional round games are quite a bit closer, so hopefully we'll see.
Yeah, but that Jags-Chiefs game doesn't look like it.
No, I think, like I said, I really see Kansas City just absolutely blowing that one out of the water. I just can't see anybody that can really hang with them in any facet of the game. But
I'm gonna root for the Jags. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna root for them because I like the upset. I like talk about the upset, but I just don't know. We'll see.
Well, I'm gonna throw up a quick little just reminder of the schedule this weekend. Obviously, like I said, Jacksonville KC is gonna kick off tomorrow, and then you have New York Giants, the football Giants, at the Philadelphia Eagles, at the nightcap of that day, and then you have Cincinnati Buffalo, the early game on Sunday, and Dallas versus San Fran as the late game. And I think it'll be good. I'm glad they don't have a Monday Night Football game this week. I was really upset about that last week. I don't like seeing a team come in on a short week like that versus the other team. I think that puts them at a disadvantage. I hope that the NFL gets together. I know it's a money thing. They want the ratings and advertisement and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't like seeing teams being put on a short week like that, especially at this time of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree too.
I like watching Monday Night Football, but at the same time, I don't like to see a team not playing to their full potential because they already played a game that week.
Correct.
But anyways, anybody else got anything to say? Anything else to add? Anything else they want to talk about? I think that.
No, I don't have much more. I mean, hope that our offensive line can hold up this weekend. That's all I'm hoping for.
And I don't know if you could see this one, Mike T, but I don't think you were going to watch the videos. But I'm going to show a real quick video of Mr. Kyle Shanahan, the coach for the 49ers, and
You have a sense
it's actually
Debo
pretty
might do
funny
something
about how
big
Debo Samuel got
his
his leg pulled
foot
during
got
part of the
yanked.
game.
I was worried that he was hurt on
dude,
it.
that was
Lost my mind a little bit on that. But yeah, I was real concerned that he was hurt on it. I didn't like how that looked. I thought it looked pretty bad, and the intent of the
Jim
play.
Harbaugh,
So I think that pissed
Kyle Shanahan,
a lot
thug
of
life
people off
through
and pissed our team off.
Seattle,
I think you kind of feel our team react to that.
running folks
after.
over.
I wish we were like that from the first play always, but sometimes with some stuff motivates the
His
guys.
shoulder bumping folks.
It's cool to see us rally together, and then Debo was bothered, and
Yeah, I was like,
when he came back.
throw a flag on this guy.
I mean, he's just running through. He's just bumping folks.
Hold up. Hey, oh my God, you be thinking we saw.
That was great, man. Debo had a good game, though, man. I think he's an excellent wide receiver, man. That dude's just a beast. I mean, he several times. I don't know if you guys remember the movie Friday, but that's my bike punk. That's my ball punk. I'm just running down. He's just standing over folks, just knocking folks out, dude. That's a big dude, man. That's hard to handle right there. Debo's a man amongst boys.
He is.
So, anyways, yep. I think it'll be a good weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Mikey, you got anything else?
That's some good games. Well, 3 good games for sure. This weekend it's gonna be awesome to watch. That's about
Yeah.
it.
It'd be a super exciting weekend. Hopefully the Jags can keep it close, and then we have a great weekend.
Yeah, like you said, if they come out second half Jags and not first half Jags, it'll be a good game. But if they come out flat like that, I don't think there's no way that they could even decide to even somewhat come back on Kansas City like that. There's no way. It would not be a repeat of last week.
I unfortunately hate to say it. I don't even think if they come out with the second half Jags that they
It'll be a closer game. I'm not saying they can win.
I don't think second half Jags can keep it close either.
If it's second half Jags, they may lose by like 2 touchdowns. If it's first half Jags, they're losing by 5. How about that? What do you think about that?
I think it's going to be 10 plus either way.
Yeah. I'm looking at least 14 if they come out second half Jags, but
I'm still going to root for the Jags though. Even though I'm picking the Chiefs, I'm going to root for the Jags because who doesn't like a good Cinderella story, right? That's what we look forward to every March when the basketball season comes around. So why not in football too?
Yeah, it would be awesome to see. Even though I picked them for the Super Bowl, if the Jags win, I wouldn't be hurt either. Like I said, I have no horse in the race anymore. So Mikey, your team's out. So now I'm just talking football just to talk football. But who they, right?
Right, who they, yeah. I'm talking about. Get Sam Hubbard some oxygen.
That's right. Help that boy out. They should have came out halfway through and just put him like a golf cart and just helped him down the field or something. Dude was hustling.
Did you listen to his mic'd up thing yet?
Yeah, I listened to a little bit of it.
And that was funny because I thought he was going to catch me. And he ran over and he goes, oxygen!
Yeah.
Oxygen!
Dude wouldn't expect him to run almost 100 yards.
I love Sam Hubbard. He's a Cincinnati kid.
Yeah.
So he's from Cincinnati, so and it's good to have a hometown hero, man.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Well, if you guys ain't got nothing else, then I'm gonna send us out with our video and
Alrighty, man.
call it a day, and then we'll see y'all again hopefully about the same time next week. Just if you haven't already joined, the link to our Discord is in the comments or the description down below if you would just join us in Discord, and we'll keep you more up to date on times and schedules and those kind of things. Also, you can follow us on our Twitter. We'll post them there, and that country has a Facebook as well. Other than that, that is pretty much it for us. Hope to see y'all again next week, and we'll talk about the games this weekend. Like I said, hopefully we get some good games in, and that's pretty much it. So catch y'all later. Have a good weekend.